just wanted for the board members, we'll go into executive session at the end of the meeting. But before we go into executive session, I'll have to end the stream. And then once we come out of executive session, I'll have to restart the stream, even just for that little minute before we adjourn. But I just wanted to let everyone know to bear with me while I start and stop the stream. But you are good to start whenever you'd like, Mark.
Okay, so we've got Letha, we've got Kaz. Hi, Kaz. Good morning. Oh, I see. We've got Patrick.
Hey there. Good morning.
How you doing, Kaz, down there in Las Cruces?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain too much.
Good.
Wind's already starting up pretty bad, but
the wind is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's always a little warmer down there than it is up here.
Yeah, it is.
And how about you, Patrick? Good morning. How you doing?
Morning. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. Glad to hear it. Okay. Well, can you just call, Tori, can you call roll, please?
Yes. So from the board today, Mark, you have yourself, Letha, Kaz, and Patrick. And then from the school, you have Sandy and Mia. And then from the V-Hill group, you have Michaela. And then supporting you from PBS is Tracy, Gary, Eileen, and myself. And then Kristen is hoping she will be able to log on midway through the meeting, but she's not sure yet.
Oh, and Sandy, Mia's a new non-face from the school, right?
Mia's the assistant principal. She and Jolene have been coming for a while. I don't see Jolene logged in, but they might actually be in the same space.
Okay, there's Mia. Hi, Mia. Good morning.
Good morning.
And then what about Jerry and Paul? Did they confirm, or are they going to be here?
Jerry said that he was going to try to come, and then Paul was finishing up his radio show and said he would log in once that was done.
Okay, good. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Can I hear a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting?
No move, Lisa.
I'll second. Kaz.
Okay. Motion from Letha, second from Kaz. Any opposition? Seeing none, we have approved the agenda for today's meeting. Don't see anybody that we don't know on the call, which indicates that we don't have persons here for public comment. So we'll pass by that item on our agenda. We'll go to item 4, oral reports, and Sandy will give you the floor. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. And I'm glad we were able to get a quorum today. So thank you guys for coming. So I provided a pretty good description of the big pieces that we did at January PD with implementing a particular meeting protocol to really put data at the focus of the meetings to kind of help that process keep moving forward. That's what that description is at the top. And then what data we looked at. And then the pass-fail rates, that's the data that I shared with the staff. And then they can go in with the data that they have and see everything by their course, and they can sort it all different kinds of ways. So we don't do that as a whole group because they have access to that data within the system very easily. And they did that in their content teams and their grade level teams, looked at the data at that level. And then we gave them some direction. We are in our 3rd week of the weekly grade level meetings. They're going on right now because it's Friday. And those meetings are in general working really well because they're learning a new process and learning this protocol as they're doing this. But it seems like their conversations are getting more streamlined, and they're able to look at the data more quickly and review that data to then move to strategies to support kids. So we're excited about that and keeping up with how that's going and making decisions about if we may need to make any adjustments or anything to those processes for folks. And I believe that Mia and Jolene have been popping in and out of grade level meetings as much as they can on Fridays. And then our instructional coach attends all of them to be able to get notes and about process and things like that. So it's going really well, and people are really digging in, even though it's a brand new process. And then I talked to him a little bit about what we talked about at the board retreat about the state assessment data and the 11th grade data and looking at what we're doing. And we talked about them looking at strategies that they can do as a classroom teacher to be able to, hold on a second. Tori, can you text Paul? He's asking for the phone number. He just texted me.
I'll text him right now.
Okay. And so we talked a little bit about that state data and what strategies can you do in your role as teaching that content or that grade level to help the kids get better prepared. And then we'll continue to dig in about other system-wide things that we can do moving forward, like completely reworking our SAT prep course that we have available to make it more aligned with what really should be happening in that course. That won't, of course, happen until next year. So those are the pieces about the PD piece. Any questions about, oh, and the other thing is that we just met with someone yesterday. Her name is Jen Pena. Mia and Jolene chatted with her a bit at the PCS&M annual conference. She has, her organization provides professional development to schools, and they do it in very much a school-specific modify in ways that make sense for the school. So we had our first conversation with her about ways that she might be able to provide some support to our school in those roles moving forward with how to specifically support kids and strategies and things like that. So we're just beginning those conversations with her to potentially plan for a beginning of that work in July when we come together for PD. So any questions about that stuff before I move on to the rest of the report?
Yes, of course. So
Yes, ma'am. I was waiting.
I'm sorry, did I interrupt somebody?
Nope, you're good. Go ahead.
So this PD person, what was her name again?
Her name is Jen Pena. And the name of her,
represent?
She has her own company. And it's called JMP, like JM as in Mary, P. She's been around for a while. She's been working with other charter schools. One of the schools that she's been working with for a while is McCurdy. And she seems to, after chatting with her yesterday, she approaches supporting schools in a very similar way that I did when I was consulting. Here are the kinds of things that I can do for you. Where are you as a school? What is it that you need? So how do we want to structure this? So we just had our first conversation yesterday and are going to follow up again probably the end of February when we're all sort of back together after the travel that's coming up, to figure out, so what is the best way that she can provide some additional support.
Okay, because of course I'm going to look it up. So I just need
yes,
the name.
And I think JM as in Mary, P.
And okay. Sandy, it's JMP Academy.
Academy, that's it. I knew there was another name. Thank you, Kaz.
And I've been working with her for a couple of years now, and yeah, I can definitely vouch for her effectiveness, her and her team and her organization there. And Sandy's right. It's very tailored to the needs of what your school needs, and she has a lot of qualified, professional, and competent staff that she'll assign depending on what you need.
Okay. Thank you, Kaz. And then on the weekly grade level meetings, I was wondering if Mia could speak just very briefly, Mia, because we don't like to spend a whole lot of time, but since you're an in and out popping person, I love that term. Can you give us an idea of what the strengths of those meetings are that will meet the goals of the school?
Sure. So that's actually the reason Jolene Ortiz, our principal, isn't here, because we're flip-flopping. One of us is coming to the board meeting. One of us is in the grade level meetings. So we're really focused on having a more formalized agenda so that the student data becomes a focus. So we're pulling data weekly from students on their performance, and then we have an entire grade level team present so that everyone can contribute on strategies that are working for the student, maybe strategies that are not working, sharing that information so that teachers are aware of what might be helpful for a student that another teacher isn't aware of. So really focusing on student data, that's what our shift has been in implementing these meetings, because that wasn't happening as strategically before. And then from there, we're hoping that we're going to see, now it's only been a month, so we're hoping to relook at the data in another month to see if these grade level team meetings have been effective.
And so is there a possibility, maybe, I don't know when or where or how, but of doing cross grade level articulation that
Yes.
comes out of this data, your data reviews?
Yeah, so in fact, we also have content area teams that are meeting. So that's where the cross-curricular, well, cross-grade level planning is coming in. So for example, our English team meets twice a month to also look at the student data and to do that cross-grade planning of the standards. So that's occurring as well. That's bi-weekly or twice a month.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate hearing that. Thank you.
Sure.
And now I'm done for a while.
Thanks, Letha.
Yeah, good questions, Letha. Thank you.
Any other questions about that piece before I move on to the RFPs? Okay, so the RFPs were issued on the 29th, last Wednesday. And they were published in the Legals in Santa Fe, New Mexico on Wednesday and Thursday. They were put on our website on Wednesday, and submission of proposals is due February 28th at noon. And of course, all of the submissions can be electronic. And then the schedule, and we talked about the schedule before. The schedule is on the board report for when we will do the proposal evaluation. What I do know is I need committees, and I will be on 2 of the 3 probably. I mean, definitely I'll be on the bundled services and the student tech. And I've already talked to Mia from the school, and I've already talked to Mia and Jolene about being on the ancillary one for ancillary services for special ed students. And I mentioned to Letha a bit, but I'm going to see if Letha would be willing to be on the review committee for ancillary services. We get multiple proposals, and we accept multiple proposals because we use multiple vendors to meet those needs. So it's a little bit heavier lift, and it's specifically about ancillary services. But I would like to have a board member on the bundled services and a board member on the student tech. And then I will also have probably another staff member on each of those. I would like to spread it out like we did last time, so there isn't just one board member doing all of the RFPs. So do I have any takers right now who are like, woohoo, I'll do bundled services, or yes, I'm all up for the student tech? And if not, I'll reach out. I'll have Tori reach out by email and have you guys say, yes, I'll do this. And there can be more than one board member, just not a quorum, if people want to do that as well.
I mean, Sandy, I don't know if I'm kind of woohoo, but I can help out on one. So
Okay.
it sounds like we'll have. So will VHIL Group be involved in all 3?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll have a board member, we'll have VHIL Group, and then we'll have a part of someone from your admin. So 3-person teams to evaluate the RFPs. Okay.
Correct. So
And
Mark,
so that'll be between. So the RFPs went out yesterday. There's a 30-day window. So we'll start evaluating them the first week of March.
and we will, yes, we will send them out to you, to the people that are on the committee, for you to evaluate and do your own scoring. And then the teams will meet on the 11th, or before if they choose, but on the 11th. And then the committees will submit their finalists to me. I'm the RFP manager, by the 11th of March. And what we
Okay.
did the last time was that. So we sent it out to everybody, they evaluated them all, and then we had a virtual meeting as a committee to look at how everybody scored everything, and then made our recommendations for finalists as a committee.
Okay, so you want the committees to meet on the 11th?
Yes, that's the plan right now.
Okay. I'll get that on my calendar.
And those dates can be flexible, like the date that they meet, it could be before the 11th. We just want to make sure that we do the contract award is ready to go for the to send that out by the end of March before we leave. Well, it'll be during spring break, but that's fine because I'll be working. Okay. So if you're willing to take a committee, great. Do you have a preference, bundled or student tech?
Yeah, bundled.
Okay. And then Letha, are you okay with me voluntolding you for ancillary?
I'm looking forward to it. I am personally jumping up and down at the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Did you say voluntold, Sandy?
I did. Yes. That is, I didn't coin that term. Somebody else did, but I think it's lovely.
I love it.
Yeah. And then student tech is the only other one. All right. So we'll send out an email about student tech to the board and get a volunteer, and then I can move forward with communications with each of those committees with some specifics. Okay. Awesome.
Sandy, let me ask a question about the RFPs. I was just taking a look at them this morning, but have we had any protests? There's a protest period, right, after
Correct.
the RFPs are let. There's a protest period. Historically, have we had any protests? Are you aware of?
We didn't have any last cycle, and I wasn't here for the cycle before, but I've never heard anybody say anything about there have been.
Michaela, do you have experience doing the RFPs? I know Justine does, but with other schools, do you have experience doing the RFPs?
Yes, not a ton of experience, but I haven't really heard of people or RFPs being protested.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions about the RFPs? All right. So as I said before, Mark and Letha have volunteered to be the board members for the interview part with CSD for our site visit on February 18th. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. The prep work for that is coming together for that. So, and then staff, I think it's 14 students now, Mia. I mean, 14 students, 14 staff, maybe 13 maybe, are going to Austin the 10th of February for a response to intervention summit with Solution Tree. They have very good professional development. Our intervention team went to an RTI workshop session in San Diego last November. And we also had someone from Solution Tree in 2021, maybe 2 in July, when we came back together in Las Cruces. We had somebody from Solution Tree come and do a day around interventions with our staff. So this is a continuation of digging deeper into response to interventions for supporting struggling kids. So we're excited to be able to go to that conference. And Jolene and Mia and I are going, and then I think it's another 11 or 12 staff members. And that's all I had on my board report.
Okay, good. Thank you, Sandy. Any questions for Sandy? Okay, seeing none, let's go to the next order of business, Finance Committee updates. And Kelly will give you the floor. Good morning.
Good morning. I can share my screen to go over the reports for this morning. There's nothing super out of the ordinary to report for this month. One of the things that you will see as we get into the checks, this bank account register activity report for this month, the ISP? The ISP checks went out last month, so a lot of those are being cashed, which is why this check register is so long this month. So all of those payments went out in December. Otherwise, the school is looking really good financially. We did get our cash position carryover bars that I will present to you today. But yeah, nothing out of the ordinary for the finances this month. Again, the PO list is a bit long because of those payments, but for the most part, you can kind of see all of these ISP payment POs. And as always, if you ever have any questions, we're more than happy to answer. As far as the bank reconciliation, we did end with about $10.6 million in the bank with 33,000 of outstanding checks. And in the savings, about 3,000. Do you want me to go straight into the bars or do you want me to pause here?
Any questions from any of the board members?
No, not for me.
Okay, yeah, why don't you go into the bars, and then we have, looks like we have we've got, 3 bars, and then we've got 2 invoices. We see those invoices every month, invoices for live speech, and then also to connections. So if you can talk about the bars, that would be good.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have bar 6I, which is an increase bar for the operational fund. This is to account for the cash carryover that we had from fiscal year 24. We did get our draft audit back, and so this is just to true up the cash carryover that we had. So we had about 3.2, almost 3.3 million in carryover that we just tried to plug into any lines and funds and functions that were negative. So that's always nice that we're increasing our cash position versus decreasing. So we're excited about that. Bar number 7 is bar number 7D. This is a decrease, same reason for the cash position for the activity fund. And then this is bar number 8I, which is another increase bar for the HB 33 fund of about 266,000. And we did put that towards maintenance and repair for the building and grounds. So those are the 3 bars for this month. If anybody has any questions.
Looks like no questions. Sandy, have we done the windows in the building?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did them in the last fiscal year.
Okay.
And we used a ESSER money for the windows. Sorry, I had to pause a minute because there was something else that we did, but we weren't allowed to use ESSER. But the windows, we were able to do that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And they're
Okay.
lovely. We love them. They're awesome.
Okay, good. They let light in, they open and close
Yes.
like windows
They
should.
open and
Good.
close like this, not like this. Yeah, they're great. And we got blinds. That was what I was remembering, was we weren't able to pay for those out of ESSER, obviously, but we also got blinds on all of them. So they're very nice.
Okay. Okay, Michaela, anything else?
Not from my end. I don't believe so. I think Gary will probably do the invoices, but I don't think we have anything from our end.
Okay.
Good morning,
Gary,
everyone.
we'll give you the floor. We've seen your face a lot in meetings over the last many months, and I don't think we've ever heard your voice. So good morning. Nice to
Good morning.
Nice to finally
Yeah, I
hear your
usually
voice.
speak during the finance committee meeting, but usually only towards to the invoices. Michaela and Justine cover the finances so well. So for this month, let's see, I'm going to share my screen. Just bear with me, my computer's going a bit slow. Okay, so I've got my screen shared. We have this is the monthly invoice from Pearson. This is the main fee-based invoice for the school. So this invoice is $604,000. On the cover page, you can see the actual invoice support. Page 2 shows how we actually calculate the invoice. So these fees are based on enrolled students as of December 31st of 1,469. You can see that at the very top of the page there. I don't know if you can see my highlights. So that's the main Pearson invoice. The support is the second page. The third page is the MSR, the monthly school report. We use that to support the enrolled number of 1,469. The fourth page is the support of the technology and how we quantify that for billing. And then page 5 is just a taxability matrix, which shows which fees are taxable and why. So that's the rundown on the Pearson invoice, the main Pearson invoice. And then we have the live speech invoice for December, which is for November's usage. I'm going to screen share that one. Give me a sec to pull it up. Okay, so for December, you can see the live speech billing for November's usage was $21,510 plus taxes of about $1,700. These fees were for, on the page 3, you can see the breakdown of what the services were and how many students. So that $21,000 equates to about 91 students utilizing the program in November. So those are the 2 Pearson invoices included in the board package. Are there any questions? Okay, if no questions, that's all I have.
And then Letha, so Jerry's not here, but I guess you went over all this in the finance committee.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Do you have any?
And everything was kosher, and you know, Gary didn't send us any coffee or anything, but it seemed to go quite well.
Okay, good. Okay. Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's go to let's go back. We got a couple of votes. Can I hear a motion to can I hear a motion to approve the connections invoice for December?
Lisa, so moved.
Okay, we got a motion from Paul, second from Letha. Any opposition? Seeing none, we've approved the connections invoice for December. Can I hear a motion to approve the live speech invoice for December?
So move, Paul.
So move, Lisa.
Got a motion from Paul, second from Letha. Any opposition? Seeing none, we've approved the live speech invoice for December. And then we have 3 bars. Can I hear a motion to approve C1 bar 007, C2 005, and C3 009?
So moved, Kaz.
Okay, we have a motion from Kaz,
Paul.
second from Paul. Any opposition? Seeing none, we've approved those 3 bars. Okay, thank you, everybody. And then on consent, we have item here to approve the minutes from the December meeting. Can I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
So move, Paul.
Second, Kaz.
Okay, we have a motion from Paul, second from Kaz. Any opposition? Seeing none, we've approved the minutes from the December meeting. And Tori, thank you for compiling those. And thank you for compiling our agendas every month with input from Sandy and sometimes the members of the board. Okay, let's go to item 8, information items, partnership and policy team update. Eileen, coming in from Arizona, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Arizona.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. New Mexico began its legislative session on January 21st, and it will finish on March 22nd. In the odd number years, New Mexico legislature meets for 60 days and even number 30 days. So good news for New Mexico is that the budget is expected to have $892 million in new money available. And certainly the New Mexico Charter Association, the Public Charter Schools of New Mexico, is focused on funding for their 2025 advocacy agenda. They're looking at funding disparities, at-risk funding, and funding for student support staff. Matt Paul and the association is just phenomenal. And Matt provides updates several times a week. Sandy and I are on the same calls, and it's great. But what we're looking at right now is when we start the budget, there's 3 groups that propose budgets for the education space: the governor, the Legislative Education Study Committee, and the Legislative Finance Committee. And certainly the Legislative Finance Committee has the inside track as the House Appropriations and Finance base their budget off of the Legislative Finance Committee. Right now, the Legislative Finance Committee was talking about teacher salary increases due to high insurance costs. So we're just watching this because, as everyone knows, the budget goes through a lot of processes. But there's also a bill that was introduced, HB 63, which was looking at changing, pardon?
I think it was just somebody's phone.
Okay. Yeah. So that bill was looking at changing the at-risk funding factor. And the Legislative Education Study Committee, one of the 3 organizations, has given an analysis. And in looking at New Mexico Connections Academy, should this bill move through without amendments, the total change when you look at all of the factors would be a positive of 2.5%, which would result in about $454,552 additional dollars if it goes through. So I'm watching it. I'm listening to the calls. And certainly I know Matt well. And if I have any questions, I will reach out to him directly. We also have our great lobbyist, Dan Najjar, providing us information as bills are moving through. But that's sort of what I'm looking at and covering. We're not anticipating negative legislation at this point. Any questions? And I'm happy to keep the board updated. It's what I'm passionate about.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Sandy
Yeah.
and Mark. Yeah, I had sent you guys that regulation that came down. Have you guys had a chance to take a closer look at it?
I looked at it, and there have been conversations with the PCSNM, and it was really trying to clean up and align some language, and there wasn't anything that was of any concern for us in that new rule.
I just peeked at it. I didn't really go into, paragraph by paragraph, but was there so last year there was a bill that changed the governing, the board requirement to 5 hours annually. Was there something in there that increased the number of hours for board members to 10 CEs?
No, that's only for the new members, brand new members.
So that was just a change for new members.
And it was just getting the language in that rule to match what had been changed around those pieces. But no, there wasn't any change to what the new law said last year or 2 years ago, whenever that was that came out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Eileen, have you had a chance to take a look at that policy change on the part of PED?
I probably did. I was looking at the most recent January meeting, but I do remember going through that a little bit before. Yeah, I can look through that. And as Sandy, it is the change for the new board members. There in the January meeting, there was also a new rule that if charter schools have a provision in their bylaws on quorum, that they're changing some of the rules there too. So but I can look back because I think this was a prior board meeting. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. And the general provisions rule, they extended the comment period and work period pretty significantly because it's sort of been out there in the world in discussions in the weekly collab meetings for a while. And we went over it in the PCSNM meetings. That's one of the cool things about those collab meetings with school leaders is one of the things they'll do is they'll really dig into some of the policies. And when they're asking when it's open for comment, PCSNM will ask for feedback from staff, from charter schools.
Right.
What do you think about these things? And when we went through that general provisions, there wasn't anything that we said, whoa, wait a minute, that can't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, Paul, thanks for sending that out. I mean, my guess is Matt and his team, and then, Sandy and Eileen, our team, we take a look at that. And if there's anything that's injurious to, us as a school or even, the movement, the charter school movement, we'll call attention to that. Were there any concerns you had in looking at that, Paul?
Nothing specific. I'm not a guru when it comes to regulatory language, so I was definitely hoping for some insights there, and I think that's a good start. So yeah, I didn't see anything that just hit me across the head and said, "Oh, this is terrible." But when you get into what they're doing versus what they have done and some of those regulations, it's kind of hard to parse through all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting when PED implements new rules and regs because the process that they go through is much less open and subject to input from a wide audience of people than if they decide, or if the legislature decides to bring some of the rules and regs into statute, right? And then you've got the committee process, and you've got, you know, a much larger number of people that are taking a look at the, you know, implementations of the recommended changes. So anyway, again, thanks for pushing that out to us. We appreciate it. Okay, any questions for Eileen?
No problem.
And then Eileen, let me ask you this: in terms of Dan's work for us, what so is he? I mean, he's probably just playing defense, right?
Well, what he's doing is he's sending me all the bills as is the Charter Association. So I'm looking through the bills, and while he's defense, if there needs to be an amendment on a bill that will impact our school and other virtual schools, then he'll work and they'll work together, he and Matt Paul, with working with legislators on getting amendments. So that's where I've found him to be helpful before in working with Dan on this. And he's also representing Pearson, not just virtual schools, but the other business entities of Pearson and New Mexico.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So the printed side of Pearson and other IT services, he represents Pearson there. Okay.
He's Pearson writ large. And I'm not sure of the other services, but whenever I need Dan, I always get a pretty quick response, which I can't say lobbyists in other states are giving me that quick a response. So, and if I need him, I will email, I will call, I will text if there's something I need. There's really, I'm pretty relentless that way.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, Dan, I think Dan does a good job.
I do too. Mm-hmm.
Okay, any questions for Eileen? Okay, seeing none, Eileen, thank you. Appreciate your hard work.
You're welcome.
Is Kristen on the call? Do we need a Pearson Virtual Schools update?
She is not here yet.
Okay, do we can we defer that to next month?
We can.
Okay, good, thank you. And then looks like we really don't have anything else other than to go into executive session and evaluate leader. Is that correct?
Yes, Mark, and you'll need a motion and a second to go into executive session, and then everyone else will need to leave the call, and I'll stop the stream.
Okay. Okay, can I hear a motion to go into executive session pursuant to NMCA 1978, section 1015, 1H2 to discuss the hiring, promotion, demotion, dismissal, assignment, or resignation of any individual, or to do a mid-year review of school leadership. So can I hear a motion? And are we going to stay on this stream? We'll
Yes,
stay on this.
we'll stay directly in this call, Mark, but I'll just end the live stream once the motion is made.
Okay, good. And then Catrice, you're going to chair that portion of our meeting. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. So can I hear a motion to do the review of the school leadership?
So moved, Kaz.
Got a motion from Kaz.
So moved, Paul.
And a second from Paul. Any opposition? Seeing none.